Hello everyone, I am Dr.D.M.Swamy, working as Assistant Professor in Economics, BJR Government Degree College, Narayanaguda, Hyderabad. Okay, today I want to discuss the methods of the collection of the data. So particularly in the primary data. Okay, in the previous classes related to statistics, okay, we discussed that what are the sources of the data. Okay, that is primary data and secondary data. Okay, we discussed about the primary data and secondary data. Okay, as we discussed earlier, out of these two, the primary data is very, very important for the statistical tools. Okay, in the statistics. So that's why in this class, we will try to discuss what are the different type of the methods we are using to collecting the primary data. We are focusing, okay, in this particular slides particularly. Okay, so here when we are talking about this one, so already I told you that primary data is nothing but so we are collecting directly from the respondents. Okay, the secondary data nothing but already someone was collected data for their own purpose that we are using for the study, so which is known as the secondary data. Okay, but primary data is nothing but we are directly based through different methods we are collecting data directly from the what is called stakeholders or the okay respondents directly. That's why the primary data is called original data. Okay, the primary data always it will be considered as a original data. Okay, so it will be more reliable data for the analysis of any study. But whereas the secondary data, it may not be reliable, it may not be original. So because it was collected by someone for their own purpose, but the primary data, it is called original data. So it is called reliable data. It is called suitable data. So because we are directly collecting from the respondents for our own purpose, our own analysis. So that's why the primary data is very important so in any aspect. So here in this particular topic particular class, we will try to discuss what are the different methods we are using for the collection of the what is called primary data, what we can say. So that's why here the data uh, the data which are originally collected for the first time for the purpose of the survey are called primary data. So that's why it is called original data. Already I told you many times. So it is called original data. It was originally collected for the first time for the purpose of the survey or for our own analysis is known as the primary data. So for example, fact or data collected regarding the habit of taking tea or coffee in a village by an investigator, like that. So not only this one, there are many, but this may be one of the example what we can say. So related to this primary data here. Okay, here for the collection of the data, there are 5 methods are there. Okay, to collect the primary data in the statistical analysis. So we have 5 type of the methods are there like this one. So that is like a observation method, okay, direct personal interview method, through correspondence method, the questionnaire method, through schedule methods. Okay, these are the 5 methods we have for the collection of the primary data particularly. Okay, here we will try to discuss what are these 5 methods and what are the merits from these methods and what are the limitations we have from these methods when we are collecting data from the correspondents or okay respondents. So we will try to okay discuss in this particular topic. Okay, the first now we will try to understand what is observation method. Okay, this is the first method in the primary in the collecting of the primary data. So in this particular method, so we will try to understand what is observation method, and what are the characteristics of the observation method, and what are the merits and demerits of, that is limitations of this observation method, and what are the types of the observation method. So all these type of the particular aspect we will try to discuss in this particular slide. So here observation means observing, seeing. Okay, directly we are watching, directly we are visiting the site, and we are observing what happened directly. So without any mediator is known as the observation. So that's what observation means. It is viewing or seeing directly. We observe the things while we are awake. Okay, so while we are awake, we are directly observing. So we are not taking any mediator or consideration. Directly we are observing what happened there. So observation is a classical method of scientific inquiry. Okay, it is the oldest method. It is a traditional method. So which is a scientific way. Okay, scientific inquiry method is called observation method. So the by definition, observation may be defined like a systematic view of a scientific phenomenon in its proper setting for the specific purpose of gathering data for a particular study is known as the what is called observation method. Okay, in this particular method, we are going to view. Okay, we are going to observe. We are going to watch, or we are going to seeing of the thing, particularly with specific phenomena. Okay, whatever we want in that phenomena, in that purpose, we are going to observing so that particular aspect. So in its proper setting for the specific purpose for the gathering data for a particular study. So uh, uh, for what purpose we are going to use this method, and why we are using this method. Okay, on what way we are going to use this method. So all these things are going to be okay observing this method for our own study, for our own purpose, what we can say in this observation method. So observation as a method includes both seeing and hearing. Okay, we are going to hear directly from the respondents, and we are going to see directly in this observation method, what we can say. Okay, so in this observation method, we have some important characters. Okay, we have some important features in this observation method. Like in observation method, it is both physical and mental activity. Okay, so physically we are going to see, and psychologically we are also going to observe what is happened there. Okay, so that's why it is called physically and mentally. So activity is known as this observation method. So the observing eyes catches many things which are sighted, but attention is focused on that data or uh, partitioned to given study. Okay, so in this observing, directly we are going to eye. Through eyes, we are going to observing directly and catching the many things. We are observing the many things which are signed, but attention is focused on the data or what is called pertinent to a given the study is one of the most important character in this particular aspect. Okay, observation is a selective or what is called a researcher does not observe anything and everything, but select the range of the things to be observed on the basis of the nature, scope, and objectives of his studies. So in this particular method, we are going to observe the selective of a researchers. What we want, it is required, that is only we are going to observe anything and everything. So anything and everything, so but in the selective way. Okay, range of the things, how much it is required. So either 100 respondents or 100 respondents or 10 respondents, like that. So the range of the things to be observed on the basis of the what is called nature. Okay, what type of the things it is required, and so what is the scope it is required, and objectives of our studies, everything is we are going to discuss in this particular aspect. Okay, then observation is uh, purposive and not casual. Okay, it is just not a casual, with some purpose we are going to observe these particular activities. Okay, it is made for the specific purposes of not in things relevant to the study. Okay, so it is made for the specific purpose of not in the things relevant to the study, is known as the observation things. Okay, this observation captures to the study social context in which a person's behavior occurs. Okay, observation, it is going to capture to the study social context in which a person's behavior occurs. We are going to observe in this particular method. And observation is based on the what is called standardized tools. Okay, it is a particular standard tools we can observe in this particular method, or what we can. So this type of the characters we can see in this observation method. Okay, here we have different types of the observation methods. So in observation method, with reference to the investigators, the role observation is classified into participants observation and non-participants uh, observation. Okay, in terms of the mode of observation, observation will be classified into direct observation and indirect observation. See, based on the uh, investigators role, observation is the classified maybe participants or non-participants. Okay, the terms of the mode. Okay, in case of the terms of the mode, so it is going to divide into direct observation or what is called indirect observation. Okay, with reference to the system adopted, observation is classified into controlled observation and uncontrolled observation. Okay, with reference to the system adopted, observation is classified into controlled observation and what is called uncontrolled observation. So here the participants observation, in this observation, the observer is a part of the phenomena and a group which he observed, and he has both observer and participants. Okay, so he is observing and also participating. So he is participating in the activities, and how the remaining the participants are behaving also going to look after by this particular what is called person is known as this particular. So like so we have different classifications like participants. So whether who is the person who is called investigator research or participating in the participating along with observation, and some researcher or investigators may observe without participation. And some researchers directly they will observe what is going to happening, and what is called some respondents, some research, they will indirectly observe what is going on there. So like this method, the observation methods will be there, what we can say. And what are the advantages we have from this method? Okay, that is advantages and disadvantages of this observation method. So here in the when we are talking of the when we are talking about the advantages through this observation method, the observer can understand the emotional reactions of the observed group. So since the observer is directly observing what is happening there, so directly you will try to understand. So what there is going on, what emotional is there from the respondents or the stakeholders can observe directly by the what is called the researcher or investigator. So because of this reason, he will get perfect information. Okay, you will try to get the perfect information from this observation method. And the second advantages from this method is the observer will be to record the context which gives meaning to the observed behavior. Okay, so when this observer or investigator or researcher is observing what is happening there directly, so immediately you will try to record what is happening there. So it will which gives meaning to the observed behavior. So these are the most important advantages we can see through this observation method. Of course, we have some disadvantages method also in this observation method. Okay, when the participants observer narrows is range of observation. So if the researcher is observing only narrowing, his range of observation will not get perfectly. That is one. So in this type of observation, the objectivity may be lost. See, for example, if any researcher is observing, if that knows the correspondents or respondents or stakeholders, so the correspondent or stakeholders may will think differently, may behave in different way. So in that case, we cannot get original data, original feelings we cannot get. So automatically, when someone is observing directly, his feelings may be different. His originality may not come out. So that's why the research cannot observe what is happening directly there from the stakeholders. It is one of the disadvantages in this particular method. And the clear demand makes in accuracy in the recording. So here, if we demand what is happening, suppose if we are going to take the data from someone, like so we came from the researcher, we came from the investigation from the particular company to know the behavior and the satisfaction level of the consumer on the particular coffee brand or tea brand. So in this particular say the consumer may told that even though coffee is very good, so sometimes he may not give the correct information to the what is called researchers. Coffee is not good. Maybe it is good sometime, even though that so it's not. So sometimes the coffee may not be good, but the consumer is saying that anyway that person is asking, if we say that yes it is good, so he will live for he will live. Otherwise, if we say that it is not good, so he will ask again one more question, why it is not good, in what way you are not not satisfying, like that. The different type of the questions will ask by the investigator. So to avoid all this the extra questions, simply the consumer may say, told that yes it is very good. So even though his satisfaction is he is not satisfied from that consumption, but he is giving for the sake of the thing, so he is saying that it is good. So in that particular case, we may not expect the accuracy from this policy. Okay, we cannot expect exactly what is happening in this particular cases. So all this type of the aspect we cannot see this observation method. So like these are some type of the disadvantages also there from this particular method. Okay, what we can say, that is through observation method. And to, along with this observation method, to collect the primary data, we have one more method also, that is a direct personal interview method. Okay, see, direct personal interview method is also another important method what we can see. So in this particular cases, okay, under this method, Okay, under this method, the investigator collects the data personally from the respondent. Okay, directly we are going to the stakeholders, directly we are going to the correspondents. Okay, we are interviewing that person. Okay, the person who collect the information is called the investigator or researcher, and the person who gives the responses, answers the questions asked by the investigator is called what is called respondent. Okay, investigator and respondent directly meeting each another. The investigator is asking the questions, and what is called respondent is giving some answers for these persons. Okay, the data collected in this manner are therefore most reliable. Okay, so since directly we are getting the information from the respondent, we can believe the data. Okay, that's why it will be more reliable on this particular aspect. Okay, this is the practice in large scale interviews where a number of investigators are assigned to the job of interviewing. Okay, this is the point what we can observe, okay, in this particular okay cases. So in formal interview, the interview's bias is minimized. Okay, but for bias minimized, okay, we can take the reliable source, or we can take the reliable data from the respondent through this formal interview. Okay, this type of interview is most suitable when you know very clearly what type of information you require for your survey. Okay, this type of the interview is very important or suitable when we know very clearly what you can say, what type of the information you require for your survey, we can see. And the interviewer is at liberty to vary the sequence of the questions, to explain their meaning, to add additional ones, and even to change the what is called wording. Okay, the whatever the investigator is interviewing, the interviewer, that is investigator, is at liberty, is having the freedom to vary the sequence of the questions. He can ask the different type of the questions to explain their meaning, to add additional ones, and even to change the wording also. Okay, this is one thing we can see. And the informal interview are preferred in the case of an explorative survey where you are not sure about the type of the data what is called collected. So whenever you're not able to collect the data from the respondents, so we are going for this what is called informal data, what we can say. Okay, here we have some important merits from this method. Of course, we have some limitations also, that is demerits also. Okay, first we will try to understand what are the merits of this direct personal interview method. Okay, in this particular method, the major advantages of this method, like the response of the persons interviewed is more encouraging, as most people are willing to supply information when approached personally. Okay, the response of the persons interviewed will have more encouragement. Why? Because as most people are willing to supply information when approached personally. So if the investigator will approach the respondent directly, definitely the respondent try to give at least some information. Okay, you will try to give some information. It may not be what is called full information, so but directly at least you will try to give some important information what is called from this what is called method. Okay, and the next thing is the information obtained is likely to be more accurate. It will be more accurate because the doubt of any of the information can be clarified by the investigator himself. Okay, when the investigator have different type of the doubts in his own mind, directly he can clarify by asking the respondent. So that's why he's going to be clear about this okay information, what we can say. And the additional information about the personal characteristics of informants which are helpful in interpreting the results later on may as well be collected. Okay, the additional information about the personal characteristics of the informants which are helpful in interpreting the results later on many as well be collected from the respondents. So that's why. So if the investigator will think that the information is not sufficient, again he can ask some more questions and he will try to gather the information. So these are some important advantages from this what is called method. And we have also some limitations from this method. Okay, the limitations of the methods are like this. Okay, major limitations of the method is the objective subjective factors or the biases of the investigator coming in either consciously or unconsciously. Okay, it is a costly and time consuming method, especially when the number of persons to be interviewed in a large and they are spread over a wide area. So this is not suitable for the big surveys. Okay, so the direct to personal interview method, it is not suitable, saying that because when you want to collect more data from the more correspondents, it will take more time. That is one of the most okay important problem we can see in this particular method. Okay, after this observation method and direct to personal interview method, there is another method to collect the primary data is known as through correspondent methods. Okay, correspondent method is also one of the methods. Under this method, correspondents or agents are appointed by the investigator to obtain data from various places. So for example, I want information from Visakhapatnam. Okay, so directly I may not go to the Visakhapatnam. So I will appoint one my agent in the Visakhapatnam. I will try to take the information from there. And if you want the same data from the Bangalore, so I will try to appoint one person as an agent of mine in the Bangalore. I will take the information from like one person from Delhi, one person Bombay, like that. So like that, the researcher or investigator is going to appoint their agents in the different places, in different areas. Through their agents, they are going to collecting this what is called information. So that person is known as the mediator or correspondent. Okay, these correspondents are required to collect and pass the transmit information to the investigator or the central office. Okay, central office. For example, when we want to estimate the national income, or the central statistical officer will try to ask the information concerned the state directorate and economics statistical offices. Okay, from each and every state you will get the information, and this information will send to the central office, that is head office or the national level office. So it will be okay finalized like that. Okay, this method is widely used by newspaper offices. Okay, these correspondents and transmit the information to the office of the investigator. So if any newspaper is there, this newspaper is appointing their agents, okay, like journalists or agents in the different places. Okay, they will take the information and will send it to the head office like that. So the newspaper agencies generally adopt this method only. Okay, this method also used by various departments of the government in cases where regular information is to be collected from the relatively wide area from the throughout the country. Okay, in case of making crop estimation or for obtaining the regular information regarding the prices of different commodities for the preparation of the price index, this method is going to be used. Okay, to estimate the inflation through price index, to estimate the agriculture output in the different places. Okay, the government or head offices are appointing their agents in the different places and collecting the data and taking the central of information taking by the central office and will take the necessary action, what we can say. Okay, through this method we have some important merits. Of course we have the limitations also we have from this method. Okay, what are the merits, you can say? Okay, the cheap merit of this method is that it is comparatively cheap and also give approximately good result. Okay, the method is equally appropriate for the extensive inquiries, and time also we are going to be saved from this method. That is one of the most important merit from this particular method. And we have also some limitations from this method. Okay, the danger of the entering personal bias of the correspondents in the reports submitted by them at more or less regular intervals is, however, the great in this method. Thus, it is necessary that the correspondents or the agents appointed for the purpose must be selected very carefully and trained properly. So here, if agent is biased, so you will take the information based on the biased only. Okay, the biased information. Okay, the biased information may not give the good result, what we can say. Okay, in this particular method, what we can say. Okay, that is one important method. And okay, we have one more method along with these three. So one is observation method we discussed. Okay, and another one is personal interview, direct personal interview method, and the third is correspondent method, and the fourth one is questionnaire method. Okay, most of the research are going use this questionnaire method only. Okay, the collection of data through questionnaires is the most popular method for the collecting primary data. Okay, the questionnaire is the most popular method among these five methods. A questionnaire is a list of questions pertaining to the inquiry. Okay, we are going to prepare the list of questions for the inquiry, and through this question we are going to the respondent or the stakeholders and taking the information from that people. Under this method, a questionnaire is sent to various informants with a request to answer the questions and return the questionnaire. The questionnaire is mailed to the correspondents who are expected to read the questions and record their response in the space meant for the purpose on the questionnaire, what is called itself. And the respondents have to answer the questions on their own. This method is extensively employed in the various economic and business surveys. Okay, in economic surveys, we are extensively we are going to use what is called this particular method, we can say. Okay, that is one thing. And this method also we have some merits and we have also some limitations. Okay, what are the merits of this questionnaire method? So since it is a popular method, we have more advantages from this method. Like okay, this method is very economical, particularly when the universe is large and spread geographically on a vast area. So this method is very important. Directly we can send this questionnaire through emails. So we can ask the answers from the various parts of these people, and since the answers happen to be in the respondents own words, he or she is free from the bias of the interview. So because here the directly the researcher or investigator is not there in front of the respondent. That's why he can give the answer without a bias. That is the one more important what is called advantages from this particular method, what you can say. Okay, so okay, the since the answers happen to be the in the respondents own words, he or she is free from the bias of the interviewer. Okay, and the respondents can take their own time to answer. Okay, so there is no specific time. If the investigator is directly there, is asking the questions, so the respondent has to give immediately answer. There may not be time to think of it. So but here through this method, the respondent can take his own time. So after reading the questions, he will think and he can give answers. It will take his own time. The respondents can take their own time to answer the questions, so they give well thought out answers. So you can give good answers for this for their questions. And the respondents that are at remote places and are not easily approachable can also be reached what is called conveniently. So through this method, conveniently we can reach even the present nowadays because of this telephonic or internet system. Okay, even though the respondent is in the remote area, this questionnaire directly will reach to the what is called correspondence. Okay, that is the thing. And large samples can be covered, and thus the results can be more what is called dependable and what is called reliable. Okay, whatever the merits we can see in this particular method, so the large samples can be covered, and thus the results can be more dependable and okay, it is very reliable from this method. So and we have some limitations also from this questionnaire method. Okay, this method also suffers from the following some of the limitations, like sometimes the respondents do not bother to return the questionnaires. Okay, once you will get the questionnaire, so the respondents may not be bothered to return this questionnaire. So there is the problem of low rate of return of the duly filled in questionnaires. And also bias due to non-response cannot often be what is called determined. Okay, so that is the thing here. Okay, questionnaires can be circulated only among the correspondents who are educated and what is called cooperative. Okay, so they are educated and what is called cooperative. And once the questionnaire shares sent to the respondents, the investigator cannot change or modify the questions for individuals respondents for the is one purpose. One, it will send, it will not be modified. Okay, that is one problem. There is no flexibility. So because of the difficulty of amending the approaches once the questionnaires have been what is called dispatched. So once it was dispatched, the investigator, you don't have any and anything. Okay, there is also the possibility of ambiguous replies or omission of replies to certain questions. Okay, interpretation of omissions in what is called difficult. That is one particular thing, it is there. Okay, it is difficult to know whether willing respondents are truly what is called representatives. And this method is likely to be slowest of all, because the respondents take their own time to return the filled in questionnaire. So since because of all these things, it will take some times also. And we have one more method to collection of the primary data. That is the fifth method, through scheduled method. It is also one of the important method. Okay, under this method, the field workers are asked to go to the respondent with questions contained on the schedule. Okay, they collect the answers in their own handwriting and provide the data to the investigator. So the investigator is asking the correspondent go to the field, and their experience has to give the written form to the investigator. Okay, this method is usually when the correspondent is illiterate. Okay, this method is usually when the respondent is illiterate, this method is going to be used. Okay, this method of data collection is similar to that of the what is called questionnaire method. But in the questionnaire method, directly we are giving questions and they are writing the answer. But in the schedule method, so we are asking the questions based on their observation, they are giving the answers, they are going to write it. Okay, this the schedule is also a pro forma containing a set of the questions. Okay, it is also having the containing the set of the questions. But the difference between the questionnaire method and the schedule method is that the schedule is being filled in by the enumerators who are the specially appointed for the purpose, like an investigator, agent, what you can say. But in the questionnaire method, so directly they are respondents are writing the answers. So these enumerators go to the respondents with the schedules and ask them to the questions from the schedule in the order they are listed. Whatever the questions are listed in the schedule, so based on that they are going to ask the questions, and their respondents are giving the answers. Okay. The enumerator records the replies in the space. It was meant for the same in the schedule itself. So schedule itself, the space was given. So there they will return the answer which was given by the respondent. Okay, this method is usually adopted in the investigations conducted by the governmental agencies or by some big organizations. For instance, population census all over the world is conducted through this method only. The data collection through schedule requires enumerators for filling of schedules, what is called, and as such, they should be very carefully selected. They should be trained to perform their job well. They should be intelligent and must possess the capacity of the cross-examination in order to find out the fact. Above all, they should be honest, sincere, hardworking, and should have the patience and what is called perseverance in drafting the schedules. All points stated for a good questionnaire must have well be what is called observed. Okay, so for example, the population. So the Director General of the census will be give the particular scheduled question, and the space also given. The enumerator has to go the respondents and ask the questions. They have to return which was provided by the space given by this Director General of the census. Okay, in the 6-7 years back, okay, 6 years back, I think Telangana state government taken one Kutumba survey. So there the government itself was given some schedule, and the enumerators went to the families and houses and asked the information and written in this particular information. So like that, so it will be there. So these are the 5 methods we have. So what are the 5 methods? We can have the observation method, direct personal interview method, and questionnaire method, and what is called scheduled method, and what is called in the along with scheduled method, we can see correspondent methods. Okay, through the correspondent methods. So like observation method, direct personal interview method, correspondent method, scheduled method, and questionnaire method. So these are the 5 methods we are following to for the collection of the primary data. The questionnaire method is one of the most important method. Okay, what we can say, okay, in these particular cases. Okay, this is called the methods of the collection of the what is called primary data. Okay, thank you, Ananda.